Coming up on Backchecking the Bolts.
Let's start with Sam O'Reilly. He's probably the Lightning's top prospect. He's leaped over Connor Geekie. Tell us a little bit about his game and what makes him special.
I mean, we have to start with the face-offs. I mean, the face-offs is where we have to start. It doesn't, obviously you don't win triple MVP in a season just by face-offs, but he took over 500 draws in 18 playoff games. That's not counting the Memorial Cup, and he won almost 60% of them. The quality of centerman in the OHL where he plays, he is not low. Like, centers are good in this league, and face-offs are emphasized. What else can we say about Sam O'Reilly?
Yeah, he's always the smartest guy on the ice. That is one thing about Sam O'Reilly. He reads the play extremely well.
Welcome to Backchecking the Bolts. Backchecking the Bolts is your cup of coffee to get you the latest on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Join host Jason Linkus and the managing editor of Raw Charge, Justin Godfrey, as they break down the Lightning's most recent games and go beyond the highlights, telling you what the box scores didn't. It's time to drop the puck.
Welcome to Backchecking the Bolts. We know the season is over, but there's always prospect watch. And today we were joined by Andrew Merrigan and Justin Bourne. They host the Aud Pod, which covers the Kitchener Rangers in the Ontario Hockey League. And for those who follow the Lightning closely, two of the Lightning's top prospects, Sam O'Reilly and Jack Pridham, both play for the Kitchener Rangers. We wanted to find out a little bit more about each player, what is going to be their impact with the Lightning, and where do they project their games in the NHL level. So let's go to that interview right now with Justin and Andrew. Here on Backchecking the Bolts, one of the things we really wanted to take a look at were some of the Lightning's top prospects. And we're asking ourselves, who should we go to find out about Sam O'Reilly, the recently acquired Jack Pridham? I said, let's go to the Aud Pod, and we are joined today by Andrew Merrigan and Justin Bourne from the Aud Pod. Boys, how you doing today? Congratulations on the Memorial Cup win.
I think we're still floating about 2 feet off the ground in the air. Just unbelievable. Thank you for having us. We love talking Rangers. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Memorial Cup, amazing.
I got to ask you both, Kitchener, not a huge town, but I saw some of the clips on CTV. You guys had a huge turnout for the parade.
Kitchener shows up for the Rangers. The Rangers are big in this town. They've been around for a long time. And it's a community-owned team, and the community takes that very seriously. It's pretty amazing to not have some sort of rich owner at the top making decisions.
Yeah,
everyone feels involved.
It's a sneaky large area too, like population wise, because there's so many small cities kind of clustered around here. It's like, I think, the 10th largest metropolitan area by population in Canada. So a little misleading if you look at just the Kitchener size. So people from Cambridge, people from Waterloo, which is their two cities, like they call this the Tri-City area. The whole region really supports the Rangers.
I've spent a lot of time in Canada. I used to stay in Oakville, Hamilton. I've been to Guelph. I've been to Kitchener before. For the people in Tampa and people not familiar with Kitchener, where is Kitchener?
Well, I think we have to talk about it in relation to where we joke is the center of the universe. Toronto is about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on what you treat as Toronto proper. About an hour and a half with no traffic. So at 3 a.m., you can get to Toronto downtown by about an hour and a half. So it's just a little, what do you call it? Southwest, I guess you'd say, and then Justin, do you know how far it is from like Windsor, Detroit area?
I think it's closer to like 3 hours from Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're like 2 hours from Buffalo. So it's like, if you sort of triangulate us there, yeah. We're in that weird southwestern Ontario that's below the 49th parallel. So it's like the only part of Canada that goes below the latitude line, longitude line, whatever. We're not here to talk about geography.
Yeah. Now for the Jeopardy portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, let's talk about Sam O'Reilly, Jack Pridham. They had two different routes to get to Kitchener. Sam O'Reilly, drafted in the second round out of London. You acquired him via trade this year. Jack Pridham, decommitted to BU, was a ninth-round pick from Kitchener. Let's start with Sam O'Reilly. He's probably the Lightning's top prospect. He's leaped over Connor Geekie. Tell us a little bit about his game and what makes him special.
I mean, we have to start with the face-offs. I mean, the face-offs is where we have to start. It doesn't, obviously you don't win triple MVP in a season just by face-offs, but he took over 500 draws in 18 playoff games. That's not counting the Memorial Cup, and he won almost 60% of them.
Wow.
The quality of centerman in the OHL where he plays, he is not low. Like, centers are good in this league, and face-offs are emphasized. What else can we say about Sam O'Reilly?
Yeah, he's always the smartest guy on the ice. That is one thing about Sam O'Reilly. He reads the play extremely well. He's a two-way forward. When you said he came from London, how that happened was he's an overager. So in the CHL or the OHL, we can talk about what those leagues are if you want, but
Sure.
Overagers are they're 20 years old. You can only have 3 of them on a team, so they're sort of that interesting place where, you know, they can't be really held on to if your team isn't contending and you have a really good overager and you're not going to go for a championship. You kind of try and offload them for, in this case, which was, he came with a defenseman, Jared Woolley, and they came with like 10 picks or 12 picks or something
they'll
like
both
that.
be overagers next year, and
Yes.
and London knew that, so London is stacked, right? So London, this is a down year, so they had to move them.
Yeah, so they had to move them. So Sam O'Reilly came over, and it's amazing. London always competes. London isn't always they're a perennial contender. They're always around in the heat of things. And Sam O'Reilly, he wasn't necessarily known for his offensive play in London.
Yeah.
He was a two-way center. You know, he in London terms, he was very much like that Barkov style of player. And then he came to Kitchener, and there was something about this team, the coaching staff, that worked out, that he just exploded for offense with this team. The players around him, he can put a puck in the net from literally anywhere. And we didn't even know this when he showed up in Kitchener. We knew he was a great player, but he's become a new guy.
Yeah, and he was sitting at about a point per game, and this is in his 19-year-old season in London. And how I'll relate this to what a savvy move by the Bolts is that Edmonton jumped up to get him and took him with the last pick in the in the first round a couple years back with pick number 32, and I thought that was a good trade, but it looked to me like a trade chip trade. Like, it's like, this guy, you know, he's primed to go first line center in London, which is just an NHL player factory, and I think they thought like, he'll develop and we'll be able to get something for him. Unfortunately for me, being an Oilers fan, they moved on from him before the stock went through the roof, is the bottom line. And Isaac Howard that they got back, I don't think, like, I don't want to slag him whatsoever. Like, he could still turn out to be a solid winger in the NHL, but it's like one of those things where, like, could you have not gotten Ike Howard and a pick? Like, it's like, that's how much of a season Sam O'Reilly had.
When they acquired O'Reilly, did he immediately play with Pridham? Because I know later on they played together. Did they start immediately together?
So Jack started first line not so much. So when they first brought O'Reilly over, they kind of had this kind of like crazy line of 5 guys that they acquired basically at the deadline. And then Jack jumped up throughout the season and played with him, but I think the coaching staff like loves that balanced attack. So they had basically 2 top lines all year once O'Reilly showed up. So I think one of the things is Jack had a lot of chemistry with basically whoever that you put out there, and he scored 46 goals. But O'Reilly, I don't know, Justin, if you want to chime in on like O'Reilly's chemistry with players early on.
Yeah, it was interesting because they did try and they put them together. There was another player acquired at the trade deadline, Dylan Edwards, who is also a phenomenal hockey player, who isn't in the Tampa Bay Lightning organization. Jack has really great chemistry with another player, Christian Humphreys. They both came over in the NCAA. So the CHL, when they signed the agreement with the NCAA that they could go back and forth, both had been playing in different leagues, so that they could go and commit NCAA and go get the NIL money and stuff like that. But then they both showed up in Kitchener around the same time last season, and they had amazing chemistry off the hop. So they kind of played all last season together, and then this season they had been playing together, and then all of a sudden this sloth of players just showed up at the trade deadline, and so it probably took like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to sort of figure out what the lines were in Kitchener. And the coaching staff has never been committed to one set of lines. It's never been like, you are line one, you are line two. They roll 4 lines pretty consistently. And so switching guys up and down, makes sense to them. And Sam O'Reilly and Jack Pridham, they both excel at sort of that changing landscape. It gives them, because they're such creative players and they're both able to work and sort of see the play that's coming at them. Switching up the lines means that they're a little bit less predictable and they can sort of do their thing, and that thing is score a lot of goals.
The one place where they played together all year once they got together was the penalty kill. And let me tell you, we had the most lethal penalty kill, and I mean lethal as in shorthanded. Sam O'Reilly had 7 shorthanded goals, and I mean this isn't condensed like coming over. And Jack Pridham had
seven with just Kitchener.
Yes, 7 with Kitchener. He never had a shorthanded goal with London. He had 6, and then Jack Pridham had 6 on the penalty kill this year.
Holy cow.
They had 13 shorthanded goals together, playing together. It was absurd. If you Jack Pridham has the straightaway speed, and Sam O'Reilly has the wherewithal to always be in the right spot, that is just a lethal combination. If that somehow happens in Tampa and you can develop these guys to be NHL penalty killers, trouble.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the
13 shorties between 2. Holy cow.
And they were trading them on they didn't play the last game of the season. They played the 67th game of the season, and they both got a shorthanded goal. They were basically going for the record together, and they were both like competing for it.
They were. They're gamers.
Yeah.
Well, you saw O'Reilly play in London. What surprised you when you had a chance to watch him play every night?
I think it was just that offense, like Justin was saying. Like, Justin, you mentioned it, so you can take the lead on this one.
Yeah, the offense came out of nowhere. Like, we knew that he was great at shutting down players. He's so good in the neutral zone. Like, trying to get a pass by him, he'll get a stick on everything. Like, even if he doesn't completely take away the puck, he'll disrupt it enough that it will cause problems on line rushes, on everything. He gives his defenders a great chance. That's what we saw in London. When he showed up in Kitchener, like Andrew was saying, like, he's always in the right spot. That I had no idea. He's the sneakiest player. He's the guy that everybody expects to score points all of a sudden, and he's just alone in front of the net.
Yeah,
pucks in. Also in the board play, like he can. He's not a huge guy. Like he's like an average sized player, but he's so strong in the corners. He always gets the puck out. When Sam O'Reilly's on the ice, it's like I've never worried about what's going to happen. He like never gets scored against. He's always a dog on the bone with that puck.
What does he need to work on in his game to get to the NHL level?
I mean, after a year like that, I mean, if people listening to this podcast may not know, he won OHL MVP, and he wasn't the leading scorer in the league. That's just how much respect the the two-way game gets from the media members and the coaches who vote on this. He won the OHL the full playoffs MVP, and he won the Memorial Cup MVP. So basically the two postseason tournaments and the regular season. It's hard to point at something that he could be better at. Like legitimately, it was probably the most complete player I have seen out of anyone on any team in the OHL in the last 2 years. Is stratospheric uprising of talent and game, and just like, I mean, I just assume that like he is this type of player that you brought him over to the best team in Canada and best junior team in Canada, and he became the best player. So like if I was really trying to like nitpick, I know he's going to face more physicality, bigger guys. Maybe he's going to have to be a little bit more aware of that because he loves to go to the rough areas, the dirty areas, the corners. That might not be so much of an option early on in his career. So he's going to have to figure out ways to create opportunities without sacrificing his body. But like trying to find a hole, I don't know. I'm at a loss. Yeah.
Tampa's a pretty deep roster. Tampa's a pretty deep roster.
Oh, we know.
It's going to be hard for him to find top 6 minutes. Is he one of those players that's better off going to the AHL, playing top line minutes, playing power play, letting his game develop? Or do you see him as a guy that you could throw on the third line, especially with his propensity to win faceoffs? That, if you saw any of the Tampa-Montreal series, that absolutely killed the Lightning. The Canadiens in the third period were winning every single draw known to man. So I guess my question is, if you're developing Sam O'Reilly, do you give him a year at Syracuse, or do you say, you know what, if that third line center, if it fits, we're going to try him there?
I would say try him right away, because he's one thing about Sam O'Reilly, if you get to know him at all, he's not a individual ego. He is like all about the team. And so getting him in the locker room, getting him around those teammates, he will find his place. Like, get him on that center, get him trying those minutes. As long as the coaching staff is willing to give him pointers and sort of like understand that he's still a young guy that has lots to learn, he will learn those things. And he is, like I said, he's such a smart guy that he just wants to play, and he wants to play hard. So as long as he's being guided in the right direction and given the opportunity, I think he'll thrive.
Yeah, just to build off of Justin, I think exactly, like, I think you start with him. I absolutely think you give him the opportunity in Tampa. He had a great camp last year, and I think that, like, he is probably one of the most competitive players that, you know, came through Kitchener in the last 2 years, and that's saying something because we had some dogs on these teams. But, like, he is just known for a competitive spirit and an intensity, and I think like he's just the type of player who's going to rise to the occasion. And we really got to know like his family, and he comes from really good stock, and he's just like he's, you know, like his family's great, so like he's going to have the support if it doesn't go well for Sam at the NHL level and you have to send him down. He is not going to be deterred by that. He's a gamer.
Whenever we hear two-line centers, 200-foot players, Tampa, you think of Anthony Cirelli. Is there one guy in the NHL that you're like, that could be Sam O'Reilly in 5 years?
I on our latest pod, I said, if that guy doesn't win a Selke in his time, I don't know. They're not voting for the right guy. So like it's if I had to, yes, I think Cirelli is a good comparison, because I don't know how much offense Sam is going to be relied upon in the NHL. He does everything well, and he's in good spots, and you know, he has a great shot, and he's got really nice hands, but like that's not necessarily the elite part of his game. And I know in the NHL, you do what you're best at. Off the top of my head, I think of like a Mike Pekka. Like Mike Pekka was somebody who just dominated that two-way play, never really lit up but was a captain of franchises and a leader of men, and I think of Mike Pekka when I see him. It's that hand eye and that smart play. Yeah, that's what I would compare, and I think that's, he's a great player.
I remember watching like Elias Lindholm when he was in Calgary. He was pretty good lethal with the Monahan Gaudreau line, and he's got that style of play for sure. Like exactly what Andrew said. Maybe not the high offensive end side, but definitely that always in that Selke conversation, always defensively minded, even though he's an offensive player. Yeah, he's got that in him.
Let's talk a little bit about Pridham. Lightning just acquired him for a third-round 2027 pick from the Blackhawks. From what I've been reading, it sounds like he was not going to sign with Chicago. Why? For a guy who has been lighting up the OHL, was there some disconnect with the Blackhawks? Why was he available?
Can I talk about the masterclass in leverage, Justin?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I have a theory, and we haven't talked to Jack to have any validity to this,
and he probably would deny.
I can't wait to hear this.
But so Jack was playing in the BCHL, which is like an outlaw league that allows you to play in junior hockey in Canada but have a commitment. As soon as the rule change, he jumps to Kitchener because it's a great opportunity. Kitchener has, a great storied history, and it's an upgrade on the BCHL. He has a great year. He fits in unbelievably, realizes, you know what? It's probably and everyone was saying it, it's probably a good chance that I come back here and I could probably win the scoring title or Overager of the Year. Well, he won Overager of the Year, and he was 2 goals off the scoring title. And if not for a little dip in his production at one point, he would have won it going away. And he then leveraged himself with the Blackhawks because I think he still wanted to go the NCAA route. But if you sign that contract, you can't go that route. So he's on a trajectory like this. He's winning these awards. He dominated the Memorial Cup, led the scoring race in the Memorial Cup, won the Ed Chenoweth Trophy. And then the rights are going to expire. Chicago is basically, for lack of a better term, over a barrel. They don't want him to walk for nothing. So what do? They trade him to arguably, in my opinion, a better situation where there's, a realistic chance that there's going to be more roster turnover because, Tampa, although not long in the tooth, they're kind of getting ready to reload here. And I don't think you're going to see you're not going to see a rebuild in Tampa. They're just too well run and that coach is too good. But you're going to see kind of a reload. And I think, somehow, some way he ends up in that situation next to his buddy, Sam O'Reilly. I mean, that to me was a masterclass in leveraging, and then ends up committing to Denver. And Denver, the head coach in Denver is apparently an incredible development, just wizard. So this guy has just literally gone from good situation to better to better to better. And, his father, Brandon Pridham, was the assistant GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs up until, I think 2 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, really?
3 weeks ago.
I didn't realize the connection.
Yeah. So I believe
joked. I believe Brandon Pridham helped write the CBA. I believe he was a part of the collective bargaining agreement.
He was attributed as the money guy on Toronto. So obviously he wasn't making personnel decisions, but he was making the money work with those 4 players taking up $42 million or whatever it was. So I attribute it to him. I think, his dad must just be a whiz. And I think Toronto probably could use a guy like that.
Well, considering with Chicago, he was ranked roughly their 13th best prospect. In Tampa, he's probably going to be top 5. That's what happens when you trade all of your draft picks away. But from everything that I read about his game, it sort of fits that John Cooper coaching philosophy. Tell everyone a little bit about his game.
Jack Pridham's game it's not that dissimilar from Sam O'Reilly's. They complement each other really well. They are both 200-foot players, but Jack is the sniper. Jack can put that puck in the net exactly where he wants it to go. He reads goalies so well. He just reads plays, and he understands what everyone's going to do about a half second before they do it. And that's just enough to help him just put everything where he wants it to go. He's so smart. He same as what I said about Sam O'Reilly. He never fumbles. Like he's always just driving. He's a great rush player. He's great on the PK. Even defensively, like he'll block a shot. He'll lift a stick to make sure the puck gets away. He always wants to be driving offense. And if he's playing defensively, he will figure out how to make that happen. He's a smart guy too.
And wheels, like wheels, like
straight line speed.
Straight line speed is crazy. Like, so they executed it a couple times, especially with that shorthanded goal record that they were gunning for, where they had a set play off the draw, far corner, back to the defenseman wires it around the boards, and Jack's already gone. And Jack picks up the puck in stride, going in over the blue line, and when Jack's in the zone, Jack will bury it. Like it's one of those things where you got to be so confident that Jack Pridham was going to bury that puck if he had an open look. It was just automatic, at least in the regular season. We can talk about, like, if you want to talk about, like, if there's a knock on Jack, is he might be a bit streaky. That might be the thing that we saw. But that's kind of like when you have those, when you have 50 goal guys in juniors, that's kind of what they are, is they score in bunches. Very rarely do you get those guys who score, like I score, every game 1 goal, right? That's just not really how it works.
Yeah.
He also hit a Michigan last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He hit a Michigan from behind the net. It was unreal.
Didn't Jack have back-to-back hat tricks this season?
Yes,
Yeah.
early
Wow,
in the year.
3 in a row.
Yeah. It was gnarly. Yeah.
I always view goal scorers sort of like baseball home run hitters.
Yes.
Baseball home run hitters get their homers in bunches. Hockey goal scorers, I don't care if it's Ovechkin, Crosby, Lemieux, Mike Bossy back in the day, they get them in bunches. You get that 2 weeks where if you're not out of their way, they're gonna light the lamp. And it sounds like
when they're feeling
he has
they're
that
feeling
in
it.
his game. But
For sure.
I'm going back to this. Why was he a 9th round pick?
So what I will say about Junior is, especially in the OHL and like the CH in general, we were noticing that like the draft picks, it has so much less to do. It's hard to project guys. Like we had a guy who got traded at the deadline for Dylan Edwards, who was one of the offensive leaders on the team, who was a 1st round pick and ultimately like didn't develop here, and it was by no fault of his own. He had a terrible injury, and Evan Hedrick was traded to Erie going the other way. It doesn't look like, if I had to put my money on it, I don't think Evan Hedrick will be the player that Jack Pridham is. And it's just like, I think it's so hard to track what guys are going to be when they're 14, like 15 years old being drafted. It's one of those things that I think there's just such a huge like physical maturity jump that happens. And like, I think maybe also if they're talking to the player and he says like, I want to go NCAA, then you're falling.
I think also we have to remember that when he was drafted, he was playing in the BCHL, which is, the OHL is or the CHL in general is well known for NHL draft picks, but the BCHL less so. He's playing against lesser competition. He's playing against teams that maybe aren't fully complete. So even if he has high scoring totals, it doesn't mean as much. Like the rate doesn't necessarily translate. I think if his rights on Monday had expired, and he would have been put back into the draft, like we were talking about, he's probably like a late 1st round, maybe early 2nd round pick now. Like that's where he's developed to. So it is perspective. It is also situation. And I think Jack also sometimes gets a knock. He's a super smart player. He's a really lovely, nice guy. But when he talks to people sometimes and he doesn't know them, he's a little like quiet as well. He doesn't have a lot to say. And so sometimes I can see how that might be misperceived as like in the wrong way.
Yeah, standoffish, which he's
standoff.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe not a team guy, but he's totally a team guy. Like
Yeah,
now that we know him, that's what he is.
That's just part of being young too, and learning yourself, learning the game. I played college baseball, and I can say when you're 20, 21 years old going up against 18-year-olds, it's a big difference. The game slows down. Mentally, you're more prepared, and it's you're reacting and not thinking. And it sounds like that's a little bit of what happened with him. I'm going to ask you about the NCAA CHL agreement. Now that just changed about a little over a year ago, and this all happened with the NIL. Now you can go back and forth between the Canadian Hockey League and the NCAA. Before you couldn't, because in the CHL you get stipends. The NCAA, even when I played back in the NCAA, they said if you got $5, you're a professional athlete.
Right.
How has that changed the OHL and CHL?
I think it's an interesting thing that we don't really know yet. Like we're so early into it that we don't know. Obviously, the Kitchener Rangers benefited from Humphreys and Pridham coming right away from whatever leagues they were in, and they were intending to go NCAA. Loved it in Kitchener, stayed. Now they won a Memorial Cup. Pretty cool. But like that's not going to happen to everyone. We've seen another team, the Brampton Steelheads. They kind of got decimated. They're kind of well known for never having fans show up to their games. They don't play in the nicest building. They had some pretty phenomenal talents on this team that everyone last season thought they were going to be like a championship contender. They didn't quite make it. Stuff didn't quite gel. And then all these guys just took off to the NCAA.
And that's partially it, right? Is like it's not a desirable junior hockey market. It used to be Mississauga, which of course is, you know, basically a suburb of Toronto. It used to be the Mississauga Steelheads, and then they moved to Brampton, which is like a even, I guess, less desirable suburb of Toronto in the sense of geography and proximity of Toronto. And it like ultimately, like, unless you're a winning program, guys who are top talent are going to be able to just walk to the NCAA, and they're going to get that NIL money. And what we saw is that we saw, like, Humphreys was a Michigan guy. It wasn't getting ice time, so he said, you know what, I'll come back to Kitchener because they own my rights in the OHL, and I'll play here. Well, now he's off to Minnesota because his stock is he was the not to take off Bolts prospects too much, but sure. He's a Colorado Avalanche prospect, and last training camp after 1 year in Kitchener, he was named the most improved prospect. So what OHL teams are going to have to do, because there's no way we'll ever be able to compete, especially with smaller markets, even smaller than Kitchener, with that NIL money, is you're going to have to promise these guys that it's going to be an atmosphere where, why don't you stay till you're 19 or 20 if you want to go for overage of the year or a championship or whatever, and then do what Jack Pridham did, do what Christian Humphreys did, and go and put yourself in an even better situation. Those guys are going to be so much more complete players going to the NCAA now, and they're not guys, they're not guys who are going to step into lineups. We love them. They're great prospects, but, like, do I think either of those players are ready to play in the NHL? No. So you're now putting yourself in a position. We had a guy, Adam Valentini, that we had, was supposed to be the second coming to Kitchener, and he comes out here and, takes pictures and does the press conference. Well, it turns out that his agent was just leveraging us against University of Michigan, and he went there because he's only 17. He already had finished his school, so that was always the plan. So he got the commit from the school he wanted. He walked 2 weeks before training camp. It wasn't against Valentini. He's a kid, but, like, there's a certain way, I think, that you can do things where maybe we don't have to do that, but it's a business and whatever. But he didn't necessarily have, he had a good year in Michigan, but as a 17-year-old, some guys you're playing against the NCAA are 25. There's that's I can think about, I'm not an athlete, but I can think about myself at 17, and I can think about myself at 25, and, out playing street hockey, I can tell you who would dominate who. It's a different body type, and it's a different maturity. And so I think everyone up here is a little like, oh no, Gavin McKenna went to Penn State, and oh no, the big guys are going to go where the money is. But, we we're not just going to become a 16 to 18-year-old super elite league like so many pundits are saying.
Yeah.
Well, Gavin needs to bail out his mom, so that's why he needs the NIL money.
Yeah,
well, now it all makes sense.
Yeah. Well, if he ends up in Toronto, I assure you, he's going to have to put up with people saying mean stuff. So, yeah, might want to figure that one out.
Welcome to the spotlight.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, real quick, show everyone the jersey behind you.
Yes, this is my Jack Pridham jersey.
And it's a signed Jack Pridham jersey, if I am correct.
It is a signed Jack Pridham jersey right there. I don't know if you can see that right there on the blue. It's a little reflective, but it's there. Jack is just a quality dude. He embraced us right away, and we kind of like to brag a little bit that we got probably the best interview out of Jack. Jack is not known for giving long answers, and we got some really good stories out of Jack. So just a good dude, and just a supporter of the community, and we're gonna miss him.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us about the run that Kitchener had this year. I mean, it's your third Memorial Cup. For the people who don't know much about the Ontario Hockey League, there's been some absolute studs that have come out of Kitchener. Scott Stevens, the Master Blaster, Al McGuinness, my second favorite Nova Scotian. And Justin, you're a Flames fan, so you have a special soft spot for Al McGuinness. But tell us about this magical run that Kitchener went on.
I think this magical run kind of started last year. I would say that the magic started last year. I give a lot of credit to the general manager and the coach. Mike McKenzie's the GM. UC Ahokas is the head coach. And then he's got the whole squad of assistant coaches. And they've just there's something in the water with this team. Like there's something, like you can tell they're all buds off the ice. You can tell that they just love playing hockey, and there's some real personalities on this team. So, we got Matthew Andonovsky, we got Christian Humphreys, we got Cameron Arquette, we got some of these big personality guys on this team, and they really made this group like a special group to watch and be sort of a part of their journey. So that started last year. Obviously, last year, the media was all about, Kitchener's rebuilding. Do we know if they're going to make the playoffs? Whatever. It's a 68-game season. They got 100 points. They were the second team in the league. They were, unfortunately, the second team in the Western Conference because the top team was London last year. And so there was something special about this, and we really got to see it. There's another team called the Windsor Spitfires who are in the OHL, and Kitchener has owned this team for 3 years in a row. They were 3 years ago, they were an 8th seed going into the playoffs. Windsor was the 1 seed. They swept them in the first round. That's never happened before. Last year, in the playoffs, Windsor went up 3-0 in the series. Kitchener came back, reverse swept them.
Yeah,
and then
Game 7 overtime reverse sweep was an absolute unbelievable moment for this core group, I think, right? Like just to jump in there, it propelled them into the next series, which unfortunately was against this juggernaut London. Also, Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley were on that team, and they could not buy goals when they needed to. It was a pivotal Game 3. I remember seeing the puck land on the line and it didn't cross over, and they don't win a game after that, and it doesn't happen for them. But I think it motivated that comeback, falling short against London. It motivated them. Now this run was crazy because the full first half of the season, it was kind of like, well, we're trying to host the Memorial Cup next year. If listeners don't know, you bid over a year ahead. You bid, like cities bid on the opportunity to host the Memorial Cup, just like the Super Bowl or a big event like that. And because it brings a lot of income. It's a 10-day tournament, lots of games. It's not something you can throw together at the last second. So the three champions from each leagues. Sorry, is that what you're gonna say? Yeah, the 3 champions from each league is the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League, the OHL, and the WHL, which is the Western Hockey League, they all get to attend and they play the host, and it's a 4-team tourney. So Kitchener didn't get and everyone thought Kitchener was going to get it. Like, it was like one of those like slam dunk years. The team is built for 2027. The city, we started the podcast in 2024. Going into, and we were reading things that like, 2027, this team is about 2027. Well, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. It came down. Kitchener didn't get it. Guelph, 30 minutes down the road, got it. One of our rivals. So we were salty. There's an amazing clip online of Mike McKenzie being like, we licked our wounds. And then I called the COO of the Rangers and I said, screw it, let's go to Kelowna and get it this year. And then he just went crazy. He made a bunch of trades that were just unbelievable trades because everyone hit. There wasn't a single guy that didn't come in and immediately dominate. It was just a masterclass. And this team just went to another level after those trades. Like, it was like even the guys who were here played better. It was just unbelievable. We haven't talked about Cam Reed. He was a first-round pick of the Nashville Predators. He is an unbelievable stud defenseman. He's a guy that you're going to see play NHL hockey, and he's going to have a good career because I've never seen somebody so sure that he's going to have a good career, and not in the most humble way. It's just a foregone conclusion that he's always wanted to do it and he's going to do it. They haven't lost since April 27th. They won 10 in a row, including, the Memorial Cup. So they won 6 out and at the end of the playoffs, and then 4 in the Memorial Cup against literally two of the best teams, or the 2 best teams in the country, and a historic Everett Silvertips franchise in the WHL that was like 55-8, and we were told that they were going to steamroll us, beat them twice 6-2. I mean, it was a masterclass.
Yeah, the Rangers won. It's a 4-round playoff series, 7-game series. They won. They were 16-2 in the OHL playoffs. They only lost 2 games.
Cow.
They swept the final.
Which was an incredible team that they played. And that's the one thing that I will say that the OHL has going for it against the NCAA is the Rangers played 90 games this year. 68 regular season games, 18 because only had needed 18 games because they went 16-2 in the playoffs, and then 4 games in the Memorial Cup. That is just not something. Those 7-game playoff series, that's not something college hockey does. No. So you want to get used to that. So I'm a proponent of using both of these leagues. Like, I'm pro players, so like, come in, get your money, like get your development, get your NIL money, and then sign your entry level contract. And that's generally speaking because, like, we know what's the percentage of guys who play more than 3 years in the league in the NHL.
It's not high.
Yeah.
Most guys, if you get a cup of coffee, you're lucky. Now, I asked this question to Eric Perrin the other day when we had him on the podcast, and I asked him, I said, in 2004, what was that moment where you're like, you know what, we really have a shot at winning this cup? And he said when they swept the Canadians in 2004. What was that moment for you guys watching the Kitchener Rangers?
Well, one of the moments is funny. It happened against Windsor. So the guy who scored the reverse sweep Game 7 overtime goal last year was injured basically the whole year and didn't get activated until Game 5, which was an elimination game. Kitchener's up 3-1 against Windsor. And believe it or not, Kitchener went down 3-0 in the first period to Windsor. And who scores the first goal in the comeback? Luke Ellenis, an Ottawa Senators draft pick. He scores and begins the comeback. They win 5-4, win that game, and win the series in 5. I think it was that moment that I was like, I thought Windsor was going to come out gunning and be a test because, like Justin said, those 2 years before, they kind of stole Windsor's soul those last 2 years. Like, Windsor was going to push us.
It was funny. The captain of the Windsor Spitfires had an interview where he didn't mean to say it like this, but he did say, all I want to do this year is beat Kitchener. His only goal was to beat Kitchener, and he got one regular season game they won, and one playoff game he won.
So
yeah. But
he
yeah,
can go take out his sorrows at Caesars.
Yeah, exactly.
There was an incident in one of your games, Christian Humphreys. It was a pretty nasty skate stomping. I don't know the best way to phrase it, but
That's the best
how
way.
is he doing? Is he healthy? Is he okay after that?
Well, I mean, we don't know. We've heard speculations. The team has never said anything, so we don't like to speculate on young guys and what they're doing. He did play in the final. It was the last game of the round robin that this happened against Chicoutimi, and so he left that game. It was in the third period, so he left that game. We didn't hear anything because the Rangers had swept the round robin, so they got a bye to the finals. So there was like 5 days without hockey. So we didn't see anything. We didn't hear anything about him. And then he played the final. He scored an empty netter goal to sort of seal it up. He looked okay playing. He didn't play a ton of minutes, so it's hard to know how he's doing. But I think obviously he played, so there was that. We also saw him partying at the parade, so he's probably doing okay.
He's okay.
Hey, the drinking age in Canada is 19, so you can have a couple extra pops, and the injuries feel just a little bit better.
I was going to say, I
case.
think the drinking age in Kitchener was probably 17 during the
Especially after the OHL final.
I want to ask you about your coach, Jussi Ahokas. I'm reading his name on the short list of a lot of NHL jobs, associate head coach jobs. You hear his name a little bit with some possible openings. Do you think he's in Kitchener next year?
I hope he's in Kitchener next year.
Yeah.
We love Jussi Ahokas. He's the first European head coach in the OHL, and of course, then by way of winning everything, he's the first European head coach to win the OHL championship in the Memorial Cup. It's unheard of, honestly, to bring in a guy from Finland. Got here, and we sat down with general manager Mike McKenzie right before playoffs started, and he told us about how people really had opinions about hiring him. I think you have a very high chance of seeing him coach in the NHL very soon. Maybe it takes another year if he doesn't like his landing spot. But like, bottom line is we're supposed to be now kind of in a bit of a down year because they went all in to win. If he were to stay here and the team is like decently competitive, like, I mean, he turned the team was supposed to be rebuilding last year, like Justin said. I think it's like we are not Leafs fans, and we are scared to death that they might make an incredible hire off the board hire here and take our coach, which we know, that would be incredible for Jussi's career, and he's the perfect type of guy to go to an insane hockey market like Toronto, because it doesn't bother him. There's pressure, it doesn't bother him.
He's very Finnish in the way that he communicates with the media and other people around. He is very straight to the point, no nonsense. We know that there's more sides to him than that. We've seen he does love coaching. He loves working with these young guys, as he calls them, the young boys, to develop them and get them into a better place. He also, I know he has a great relationship with his coaching staff, and that he really empowers them. That's one of his strengths, is that he really empowers his coaching staff to do their jobs to the best of their potential. So he doesn't when he coaches, he doesn't take everything on himself. He delegates appropriately, and then he is also super clear with his players. Like we talked to Hunter Brustevich, who was sort of an all-world defenseman in the OHL. He plays for the Calgary Flames now. It was his last year in the OHL, was Jussi's first year in the OHL with the Rangers, and he said, there was a language barrier for like one practice, and then he got to business, and we all just understood what we needed to do. He was really clear with what our roles were, and once it seems like everybody just buys into his system right away. Like, there doesn't seem like there's any, however he talks to these players, however he gets them to go, buy-in is not a problem for him, and that's huge in itself. So he trusts his players, he trusts his coaching staff, and he gets buy-in. So it's a pretty lethal combo.
he has what the kids call aura. He's a very intimidating guy. Like Justin said, we saw him at practice laughing and joking, and so there's obviously that like dichotomy there with his players and stuff. But there's a moment in Memorial Cup final where he gives this death glare to a referee because they're incorrectly going to put the face-off in the defending zone, and they made a mistake, and it needed to be at the center ice, and he just gives them this look, and it's funny. It just things got fixed, but he like honestly. He's put together the staff himself. He's brought the staff along himself. I'll be honest, if a place like Dallas, which I'm not sure if they're looking for a coach right now, but it's just like a Finnish, kind of haven. If they were looking for a full coaching staff, a la like, we're going to hire you and you can bring your guys, I think UC would go. He'd be gone. I could see UC being hesitant to step into a situation where they're like, we're going to call you an associate coach and we're going to put together a group of guys. I think it would have to be the right landing spot because he's also like a huge family man and loves his family, and I think that's a priority too, is he's got young kids and you don't want to be moving around too much. So a year of like, I'm an associate coach, well, I can just stay in Kitchener and maybe have another competitive, surprising year with a roster that's not projecting as well, and that can just bump me up to head coach position maybe a year after, right? It sounds counterintuitive to not jump while your stock is high, but I think like hockey minds know that like you're not going to win it every year, and if you do well with what you have, then like there's obviously something you're doing well.
Good coaches know how to coach. He's won in Sweden, he's won in Finland, he's won in Germany, and now he's won a Memorial Cup. Good coaches just know how to do it. Guys, tell us about the Aud Pod.
It's odd.
Well, we can't believe we're here talking to you, to be honest.
Yeah.
We 100%, we started this as a way to get out of the house. We both have small children and wives, and we were like, you know what? We need to do something creative because we both have a creative background, and we're like, we both love hockey, and we both hate each other's NHL teams. So let's bond over a local team. Let's get out of the house and talk hockey for an hour or two once a week. And now we are talking on a Tampa Bay Lightning podcast. It's like, it's funny how it happens like that. But Justin, I always attribute Justin as the mover and the shaker. I had kind of like the dream of making this podcast. Justin was like, all right, let's meet at the library and start recording. And I was like, okay, I guess we're doing it. Justin, please tell Jason about how this community has embraced us.
Oh, the community of the Kitchener Rangers is phenomenal. Like I mentioned earlier, they're a community-owned team, so everybody has that sort of feeling of ownership around the team. And we didn't know, like, we started this podcast. We're kind of new to the area. We didn't really know anything about the OHL. We kind of took the stance of the podcast was we're going to learn about the OHL while watching and cheering for this one team. And the community just sort of like, they got on board with the positivity. They got on board. They love supporting these guys. What we learned that we did right, that we didn't know we were doing right, was that that being positive and giving a nice positive spin to all these games that we're watching was something that they really wanted and needed, and they were just so on board. And because this community is so lovely and kind, that is what sort of made the magic happen. And now the community totally embraces us and comes to us as authorities now, which is weird because most of these people have been, lots of these people have been watching the Kitchener Rangers for so many more years than we have. And they've gone through the 18-year drought that just ended and stuff like that. And we're like, well, we've been here 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
So
it's a little imposter syndrome, I think, for us a little bit. It's just been a crazy ride because what I'll tell you is we thought we were starting to like follow a rebuild last year. I think one of the first games, it was the first game last season. We didn't know this. The whole team was extremely stomach sick, like brutal flu bug for the game opener. They lost. It was the worst loss. Our very first game recap was the worst loss in the history of the Kitchener Rangers. They lost 12-2. And we were like, Okay, so this podcast is going to
yeah.
be interesting, and
We're like, how do we spin this positively?
we had
No
fun
one
with
threw
it.
up on the ice.
Yeah, right.
That was
had
the
fun
positive.
with it. We made jokes about it. We had fun with it. We then eventually found out that it what became known as the poo game, and it was just ultimately it was something that kind of like ingrained, like that was kind of like, oh my goodness, like they're actually good. That was just kind of like a bait and switch. And very early on, players, but also players' family members followed us and engaged with us, and wrote to us and been like, we love what you're doing. And when you have that kind of support from Matthew Adanovsky was the team captain last year. He left and went to Belleville AHL for most of the season. When he came back, he wasn't captain anymore. Obviously Cameron Reed, as I mentioned earlier, was the captain, but he's such a leadership guy in this organization. I think we had about 40 followers when Ando followed us and started engaging and like liking our content and stuff. And like for that, like, I mean, he's 19 years old, and like as the kids say, we're a couple unks. I don't know what that means, but I know that it makes us not cool. But that's not how these guys treat us. We were down on the ice and they were giving us hugs and high fives and stuff and telling us how much they love us, and we were like, you love us? Like, no, what?
You just won the trophy.
Yeah, we love you.
No, that's awesome, guys.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but like I don't know how it works necessarily in other junior programs around the U.S., but in Canada, you get drafted, right? So you don't get to choose where you play your junior career. So all of these guys are playing. They live with billet families wherever they are, and so I think one thing that worked well for us with the Aud Pod was that we were another connection point for families to their kids, which is like,
Sure.
It's like, oh yeah, you don't realize there's like that separation and the way that like, because a lot of these kids have been out of the house since they were like 15 years old. There is a whole other aspect of this game that I had never thought about before, and I've learned so much about. And the billet life is a whole thing that is. There's so many lovely and wonderful billet families that become like family members. I know in the NHL we saw Matthew Schaefer living with who's he living with, the famous former hockey player, and he's just like so embraced in that family and stuff like that. And that totally comes from his junior career too, living in Erie and having a billet family and all that sort of thing. So yeah, long-winded, but families are important.
In the early 2000s, I had announced a lot of USA junior hockey tournaments, and I would get people emailing me. We had an email address during the broadcast. People would email and say, yeah, I'm listening to my son. I'm from whatever town in Montana, Wyoming, whatever. It's really cool to see, but we are going to put all of your information in the description. We have a couple graphics that have been going on in the show. Everybody's going to find out where to find the Aud Pod. We appreciate it. Guys, final question. Justin, I'm going to start with you because since Andrew has the Pridham jersey, I'm going to start with you, Sam O'Reilly. In 5 years, Sam O'Reilly will be, finish the sentence.
I think he's going to be the second line center on Tampa Bay and on the top power play.
Andrew, same question, but with Jack Pridham. In 5 years, Jack Pridham will be?
I think Jack Pridham will be Sam O'Reilly's favorite place to put the puck. And I could see him easily scoring 20 goals in the NHL. He's got that kind of shot, and I think those two have that kind of chemistry, and I really hope they stay together.
Guys, first of all, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for giving us the insight on Pridham and O'Reilly, telling us a little bit more about the Kitchener Rangers run. We really appreciate it. For everyone at home, check out the Aud Pod. You'll definitely get some insight on Canadian junior hockey. These guys see all of the prospects coming up from tomorrow. There's a lot of insight on the Aud Pod. Check it out. Guys, thanks so much for joining Backchecking the Bolts.
Thanks, Jason. Really, really love being here, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
anytime.
Appreciate it. And if you don't watch junior hockey, but you've got a junior hockey in your community, they fight more, they check more, they're more emotional. It's a lot of fun. Go down and support your local junior team.
Appreciate it, guys. We'd like to thank both Justin and Andrew for joining us today. They gave us some great insight on Sam O'Reilly and Jack Pridham. You can read them at theaudpod.com. Their information is going to be in the description and in the notes. Meanwhile, over at Raw Charge, Justin Godfrey is still writing each and every day. He took a look at his preseason predictions. Was he right? Was he wrong? He's going to break those down, but also he's going to look at Darren Radish, where he finished in the Norris Trophy race. And John Cooper, of course, won the Jack Adams Award as the top coach in the NHL for the 2025-26 season. Justin's going to talk about John Cooper's amazing season. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure to visit Raw Charge at www.rawcharge.com. I'm Jason Linkus. Please hit that like and subscribe button and go Bolts.
Thank you for listening to Backchecking the Bolts. We are free and available on all platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, YouTube, and Deezer. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to subscribe and leave a review. You can follow Justin on Blue Sky at rawcharge.com. You can follow the show on X at Tampa_Bolts_pod and on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Backchecking the Bolts. If you're interested in advertising on the show or partnering with us, you can find more information in the show notes or email Jason at backcheckingthebolts@yahoo.com.